So now, uh, despite you are very much concerned about the internal issues or the issues happening at micro level of your organization, even a manager in the decision making process of uh, his or her organization will have to look at some of the external issues. Okay, like the type of economic system. For example, a few economic systems are still closed, so our economic system is opening now. Okay, like open economy systems like US and UK, how it was very much open. So it means you should also think of the type of economic system what is in the country, whether it is open up for investments, or whether it has got too many restrictions, or if it is a closed economy not allowing other investors. Okay, whether it is completely state control or not, those things also matter a lot. Okay, so these all happen at a macro level. Then the trends in production. So how are the general trends going on? Whether there is a upgradation of technology. See, uh, you're going with one way of production, and if your competitors are using a very upgraded way or upgraded method of production, then how can you be in competition with them, right? So even in your decision making process, you should also look at the general trends, how production is being made, what are the new trends in production. Okay, any new uh, breakthrough technology or breakthrough processes have been developed or invented that you need to know. And employment. Okay, so how is the employment trend, how is the present employment trend? Okay, whether like it could be demographic factors. Okay, so in a poor country, if you're operating in a very poor country where the literacy rate is very low, okay, the wages what you can pay to them, you can just produce at a very cheap labor cost, at a very less labor cost. Okay, so all these factors of employment, maybe literacy rate, demographic factors. Okay, all such factors you will have to take into account and then take your decisions. Income level of a country, right? So and even if the income levels are very low and you're trying to manufacture or develop a product whose prices are very high, then I don't think that kind of uh, market is really suitable for you to operate where the income levels are very low. Prices, how are the prices in and around your market, right? So the prices should be comparatively more or less low to your competitors, and saving and investment patterns of that particular economy. All such things you have to take into account. Then, how are the financial institutions in that particular economy operating, right? Whether the financial institutions are really interested to offer you loans, right? So, what are their rules, or what are the obligations you need to fulfill as an entrepreneur when you're about to deal with such financial institutions, right? Few financial institutions, few markets, financial corporations, institutions, they give very much flexibility for the business firms, okay, to take loans. Okay, I have a general question now, just to test our abilities. How many of you know the meaning of overdraft? Any idea of overdraft?
We can more than what is in our account.
Okay. Do you have this facility in your savings account, or this is a feature of only given for firms? When you go to withdraw money from currency from ATM
Demand
center,
draft.
see, demand draft? No, no, no. My
Heard of
question
demand
is,
draft, sir.
yes, yes, out of? See,
Heard
when you
of
go,
demand draft, but
okay, okay, someone heard of demand draft, not overdraft. Okay, listen, when you go to withdraw cash from ATM center, it asks you whether yours is a savings account or current account. Have you ever seen that? So savings account is given for individuals. current account is given for business firms. Okay, so similarly, this overdraft facility is given by banks to business entities. It means they can, someone said it right. So a firm can withdraw more than the limit what it is having in its current account. So like this, you have to just look at the trends happening with respect to the financial institutions, whether they're how good they are encouraging firms to do business, and magnitude and trends in foreign trade. Like if you are operating in more than one country, multinational, you have to even look at the trends happening in other countries. Okay, so Johnson and Johnson company, it operates in more than 180 or 200 countries. You know, whichever country it operates, it completely implements the working culture and completely imbibes the way that particular country is operating its business, and Johnson and Johnson operates in the same way for each and every particular country. So you have to study all this and get accustomed. Then trends in labor and capital markets. So same thing discussed over here, employment and labor. Okay, what are the demographic factors of labor, how they are changing, right? Earlier, just when you go back to 20 years, the literacy rate was very low, and the labor, and there was a concept of, more or less, the concept of laissez-faire. Any idea about this laissez-faire? You heard it somewhere? Now someone will say we heard about Fair and Lovely, not laissez-faire, right? So laissez-faire is non-intervention of government. Okay, so just way back 20 years, okay, the literacy rate of labor was very less. They had no information, and almost it was a laissez-faire type. Like the government had very less to interfere. Okay, only the what is it? The labor were just left to the stake of the labor demand and supply operating in the market. It means the labor were not paid enough. Whatever were the market forces being operated, demand and supply of labor, wherever the price hits, those wages were paid to the labor. Okay, I'll give just a small instance. I was discussing about market forces, right? Demand and supply of market forces. I'll tell you how. Whether it is labor cost or even price. Okay. So what is that market price? What is that market forces? Demand and labor operating in the market, right? Now, if uh, okay, let us assume this is demand. Okay. Now let us assume this is price. So as demand, and let us assume this is supply of a good. Okay, supply and uh, supply and demand. Okay. I think that should be on X or Y axis. Okay, no problem. I'll just try to explain. So what it happens is, as uh, for example, more and more labor you are willing to uh, give, more and more labor. It means the labor is willing to work. Okay, there's more supply of labor. When there's more supply of labor, okay, the wages the wages to be paid for labor will be very less. Okay, at the same time, it means if the supply is more and the demand is very less, okay, then the wages will remain very low. Rather, the demand for wages is increasing. The demand for wages is increasing. The demand for labor is increasing. Then what happens? So in respect with supply, as the demand increases, wages will increase a bit. Okay, so that is how the forces of supply and demand of labor will be operating. So it was that in that way before. It was in that way before. Okay, fine. So anyhow, I'll get this graph to you. I'll explain this graph again sometime when I get idea about that, or I'll get it, no problem. Then, so that is, so how the trends are being operated in labor market. So whether the labor supply is very high or the labor supply is very low, how it is in within that particular area, you'll have to understand. Then capital markets. So capital markets comes to investment patterns. Okay, so earlier when you want to invest somewhere, hardly you can say when it comes to your parents or your grandparents, if you ask them what is the best way of investment, they suggest us it could be fixed deposits, okay, or some kind of insurance in LIC, or a safe deposit in some investment companies, right? But now you can see there is a lot of change in the trends of capital markets. Okay, earlier we had very less information. Okay, so that's how our parents and grandparents were just they thought to be just safe and secure, and they had only thoughts of investment of only in fixed deposits, okay, like safe investments. But now you have information at your fingertips, okay, artificial intelligence and information technology has brought you information very close, such that you can even know how frequently the price of a stock keeps on changing. Okay, with the immense knowledge you have, you can even invest a lot. So even this, what is happening with capital markets? So what is happening in capital markets? We can a business manager. Of course, this comes only when you are investing pattern, when you are investing in some markets. So you just need to understand what are the trends going in capital markets. Then what are the country where you're operating? If it is your home country, what are the economic policies of your country? Okay, so what policies, industrial policy, what policies the government has brought in the new budget, okay, and price policies, all this will have to just have an understanding. We'll have to just have an understanding and then take a decision. So these all are macroeconomic aspects which a manager will also have to study or address. Then all these will be covered in managerial economics at higher levels. Okay, only at higher levels. For us, only these issues will be focusing on, that is operational issues. Then, when it comes to importance of managerial economics, okay, why is it so important? And I think after studying this scope of managerial economics, you might have very well understood. So you might have very well understood what is the importance of managerial economics. However, we'll try to just have an understanding of this. So meanwhile, we'll just try to solve this mystery here. I was stuck here. Okay, I think demand should come. Okay, more and more labor are willing to supply. Uh, okay, let us assume this is demand and this is supply. Okay, supply and demand are increasing. Okay, not all this. I'll just make it simple. See now, nothing to worry about this. So this is the price demanded by labor. Okay, so this is uh, let us not worry about price demanded by labor. Uh, demand. Okay, is supply, this is demand. See now, how is the supplier? For example, you are the manufacturer. Okay, when are you willing to sell more and more? You're willing to sell more and more at a higher price. Am I right? So I got it now. You're willing to sell more and more at a higher price. At the same time, what are the consumers willing to pay? They're willing to buy more and more at a lower price. Okay, so this is demand for a product. This is supply. I was just trying to give a general example, so I didn't just go to. Okay, so this is demand. So when does demand for a product increase? See, this is demand. Demand is increasing here. You can see here. Demand was first only one unit, unit one. Slowly, what is happening? Demand is increasing. Okay. When does demand for a unit increase? Demand for a unit increases when its price is as the price is decreasing. And when is a supplier or a manufacturer willing to sell more and more? You can see here, he's willing to sell only one unit at a lesser price. The price supply. Okay, this is on this y-axis. You can put supply as well as price. So he's willing to supply more and more as the price increases, as the price is high. But we are willing to buy the product as the price comes down. Lesser is the price, more is the demand for the product. Then at what price will both buyers and sellers? At what price will both buyers and sellers compromise? Okay, this price at which buyers are willing to buy and sellers are willing to sell. This price is called as market price. Similarly, now labor, when it comes to labor force, market and demand and supply of labor force in the market. Okay, the labor is willing to sell his labor, okay, more and more at a higher price. Means more and more number of labor are willing to work when the wages paid are increasing more and more. That is price. Here price is nothing but the wages what you're paying for labor. They're willing to work, more number of labor are willing to work when the wages are very high. But is a capitalist willing to pay more? No. He is but for him, as the supply is more, he is willing to pay less and less. Okay, he is willing to buy labor only when the wages he is willing to give when you're coming to work at a very lower wage. Okay, means the capitalist will hire more and more labor. That is, the demand for labor will be very high when the wages asked by the labor are very low. But however, what happens? These two forces, supply of labor, okay, and demand for labor, at whatever price they coincide, this will be the market price, or the wages given to the laborers at the market price. Okay, if this is a situation, definitely capitalists will take control and they tend to reduce wages of the labor more and more. They try to reduce this, but what happens? It is not the situation of laissez-faire in our economy. Government interferes. Okay, there are more number of labor laws, especially there to protect the working class. So what government does? There's an act called as Minimum Wages Act. There the government will set a minimum criteria. That is, every industry should pay a minimum wage. Should pay a minimum wage to its laborers. Like this, a manager, as he's working for a business organization, he should have an idea about the labor market. Okay, what are the current practices happening in the labor market? Any new labor laws? Okay, any new provisions or amendments? All these you'll have to understand. I hope this concept was clear. Supply and demand. Can I let me know if it's not clear, because I didn't pre-plan this graph. Okay, I was just trying to give an example. If it's not clear, so where do you think we'll get? See, labors is not labors need. Someone asked me a question, Veera. Everyone is studying, so where do you think we'll get labors? Okay, I'll give one good example. Someone asked me this question. I'll give a good example. See, it doesn't mean that if you're getting educated, okay, if you're getting educated, you will not you will not get a job, or you're not willing to work, or a country will not get a labor worker, a worker at a labor class. So it's not so. When you go to Japan, every employee, when he works in an organization, is treated as a permanent employee. Okay, so they are educated. At the same time, what they do is, they see, as you're getting educated, you will appoint people based on their qualifications. Okay, based on the qualification, the type of technology you're working with. See, however it is, even when people are getting more and more educated, they work with those kind of technology based upon their education. It doesn't mean that you will not get labor. You will definitely get labor or people to work with, if not of a cheaper technology like manual labor. See, for example, uh, now if you go to industries where there are good uh, where there is a hi-fi, a good technology being used. Okay, you see in developed countries, they'll definitely set a minimum qualification, like a person diploma in some area is allowed to operate with that particular machine. Okay, in that way, however, based on education, jobs can be created. It is not an issue. Okay, however, as you said, uh, in the present scenario, especially when it comes to labor in agricultural fields, there is a lot of scarcity about labors in agricultural fields to find. Okay, maybe you are from agricultural background, you know it much better. Okay, so people who are dealing with agriculture, it's very difficult for them to find labor. But however, only in construction company, maybe as they're paying very high, we can find labor in construction companies. However, if benefits provided are very high, okay, definitely employment can be created and we can get labor also. Fine. So I think this supply and demand of labor in the market price is understood by all. Okay. So if it's not understood, please you can raise your hand or just put a message in the chat, or else I'll continue with the next one. What happened? Fine. So we'll quickly go through this because we have already discussed in the scope how important it is. I'll just have a recap of this. So as you study this concept, managerial economics, why is it important? Okay, why is it important to us? Uh, okay, you're free to unmute yourself and talk to me, please, rather than I just opening the chat box. Is labor and employees same? See, we use the word labor in a general sense. Okay, labor. It could be anyone who is offering his work. Okay, who is offering his work to get paid on the other end. Okay, on exchange, you are exchanging your work. See, labor is actually a verb term also. Verb means it's the work what an employee is giving, what the work what a worker is giving, to what he's being paid for. So here, labor we are using in a general sense, not working, not laborers. Okay, not laborers who are working at a very low class. Labor is a term used in general sense, labor market. Okay, how the trends in labor. It could be employees of low level, employees of middle level, even employees of higher level also come under this labor market. Okay, so labor can be used in a general sense. Then this concept of managerial economics, it helps us. So once you have clearly understood, or you have at least have an idea about those basic principles in managerial economics, that will help you to frame some policies. Okay, helpful in charting out business policies. Like uh, when you look at the decisions or policies made by the government, so based on that you can frame your own policies for the next coming years. You can plan your business. It helps in cost control. Okay. Yesterday, as we were discussing, when I asked a question, to produce one unit, if it takes 10 rupees, so does it cost the same to produce 10 units? I mean, 10 into 10 proportionately. Someone rightly said no, because on a mass production. So as you produce more and more quantity, okay, as you produce more and more, the cost of production gradually it comes down. You know, there will be a U-shaped curve. You can see a U-shaped curve. So as you produce more and more on a large scale, your costs will gradually come down. So it doesn't mean that your cost will come down infinitely. No. Again, if you're still trying to produce more and more with the same capacity after a certain level of production, again your costs will gradually rise. It means the knowledge what you gain in managerial economics, it will help you to understand till where my costs will be less, and from this level of production what I can do, how can I control the costs, what is the best method to control the costs. All these decisions you will be able to take. And being a manager, you'll be able to coordinate your business activities. It's very common. Okay. Then is labor and employees same? There can, Mr. Veera, you better talk to me so that we can discuss. There can mental and physical labor. What is this mental and physical labor? Hello, Veera, you can talk. I didn't unmute. I didn't mute you all. No. No mic. Sorry, I didn't understand your question actually. There can mental and physical labor. At least you should, your sentence framework should
Sir,
be.
sir,
Yeah.
that implies mental means working with like just
Okay. Okay.
giving
You
the
mean
ideas, giving the
okay.
ideas.
You mean white collared labor and blue collared labor?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. I understood. I understood. So please mute yourself. Very disturbance. There's a lot of disturbance from your side. Okay, so it could be anyone. It could be blue collared employees or white collared employees. Together, both of them, we call it as a labor market. Okay, then see now the knowledge what you gain here, it is also important for you in forecasting the demand. As I told you yesterday, right? A simple method I was discussing yesterday. What is that? 3-day moving average, or we can say even a 10-day moving average. Okay, I'll give a very lively example. When you're trading stocks in the stock market, okay, uh, there are a lot of moving averages. 9-day moving average means the price of the stock was, let us assume 10 rupees on the first day, 15 rupees second day, like this. All the 9 days by 9, sum up divided by 9, that will give you a 9-day moving average. Okay, it means when you calculate this 9-day moving average, so you can easily predict what could be the price on the next 10th day. On an average, the price was this for all the 9 days. So probably this could be the, sorry, here when we're speaking about demand forecasting. Okay, my uh, my quantity, the first day, the quantity demanded for my product was 10 units. Second day it was 15. third day it was 18. So we'll take for a simpler qualification, we'll take 3-day moving average, simple calculation. So what could be the demand for your product on the fourth day? 10 plus 15 plus 18 divided by 3. Whatever comes, that could be the forecasting or predicting the quantity demanded. So maybe on the fourth day, if it is approximately some 17 or so, it means for the fourth day, your customers, the demand for your product will be 17 units. So like this, the knowledge in this managerial economics will help you to have a forecast. Means this will be the demand for my product probably for the next coming 2 or 3 days. Similarly, there is one more technique called as time series. Time series means maybe like an year will be divided into 4 parts every 3 months. Okay, like let us assume from January to March. So probably from every January to March, the demand for my product was 1,000 units last year, and uh, and then April to June, maybe 1,500. So looking at the time series, okay. Now let us assume you are at the end of the year. Let us say December. Now then you can easily calculate, you can easily predict, as the demand for my product between January to March was 1,000 units. Maybe in the next coming 3 months, probably the demand for my product will be between 1,000 to 1,200. See, remember always this forecasting is only prediction, and it is not accurate. Whatever forecasting you make, okay, it is only prediction and not accurate. Okay, so that is what is studied in statistics. Statistics will give you only predictions and not accurate information. Remember, any research you do, on something based on statistical data, remember that is only approximate value, approximate information, but not accuracy. Okay, so we are operating in an environment of uncertainties, lot of uncertainties, so you can't predict exactly what is accurate. Okay, only it will give you forecasting, that is prediction, to a greater possibility. Then so based on this you can also decide your pricing strategies. What can be the price of my product? If the demand is very high, no problem, you can charge a bit higher. Okay, so as people are willing to buy more and more, you can sell it at a bit higher price. Then it will give you the right direction. The study in managerial economics will give the manager the right path to go ahead. So finally, you can also measure the efficiency of your firm. Efficiency is nothing but minimum inputs maximum outputs. Minimum inputs and maximum output. So you can see how efficient, you can calculate how efficient my firm was. So accounting, okay, you in unit 4 you will learn about accounting, where you'll calculate at the end of the accounting period whether you were in profits or in a loss. Okay, you will see that. Like this, the concept of this subject will help you to understand. It is so important because it will serve all these purposes or objectives. Okay, so one yeah, this is not, yeah, this was the one, this was the slide. Then I asked you to just, do we have forecasting techniques? Yes, we have forecasting techniques in your second unit. Okay, demand analysis, different types of forecasting techniques we will be studying in our second unit. I just gave you 2 examples, time series analysis and what is that, moving average method. Like this, we'll study different techniques in your second unit. I'm only giving you some introduction of things what we'll study in our 2, 3, 4 and 5 units, so that we'll understand how important managerial economics is for us. Okay, then how managerial economics is related with other disciplines. With other disciplines, I'll just tell you. We'll just wind it up quickly here. So the term itself indicates there are two subjects here, two disciplines. One is management, one is economics. Okay, so can anyone define management? Just one or two. We'll just go quickly. Any one or two. What do you mean by management? No one wants to speak. You know nothing about management. Hello. You know what is management actually. So at least someone can speak. Management. I didn't see any message.
Sir, it's a process of getting things done in a efficient way.
You're googling the definition and telling. Was my guess correct?
No, sir.
Oh, then you use the word efficiency. How could you use the word efficiency when you're
I
trying to
was I,
explain management in a simple terms?
I was trying to remember, sir. Actually, we had in our last semester.
You had this subject about
Yes, sir.
management.
Yes,
Management.
sir. Yes, sir.
Was it principles of management?
Yeah, sir. Principles of
Okay, fine. So it is simply to say what is management. It is getting things done, maybe in a best and cheapest way, or getting the things done through others. Okay, so this discipline itself has got two disciplines, management and economics. So you know how it is related to economics, right? All principles and laws of economics will be there. Okay, so it is a part of economics. Then management. So being a managerial person, you're definitely trying to get things done with your people in an efficient way that is best and cheapest manner. Then statistics, as I told, gave you a few examples, right? So moving average method, time series, time cycle, right? So taking previous 1 or 2 years data into account, you're trying to predict something, that is statistics. Okay, taking past data into account, or you'll take some data and analyze it using some formula and then predict or forecast something for the future, that is statistics. So definitely managerial economics is related to statistics. Then mathematics, wherever mathematical formulae are involved, definitely that discipline has a link with mathematics. And accounting, so which you'll be studying in your fourth unit, right? So uh, like trial, okay, journal, ledger, trial balance. So finally, at the end of the accounting period, whether you have any debts, liabilities, whether you are simply to say, without using complicated terms, whether your firm is operating in profits or losses, that can be studied, that can be understood. So even managerial economics is also related to accounting subject. Then operations research. So what is operations research? Operations research speaks about how best an activity can be done at a production unit, right? So definitely if you want to minimize your costs, you should study the best techniques in operations research. So it is linked even to operations research also. Then psychology. Okay, so if we have time, I'll just play one video which is given, which was done by Steve Jobs. Okay, so when you are human psychology, okay, so when you produce goods and when you want to sell it in the market, can you just try to sell it without trying to understand the psychology of humans? Can you just sell the product at certain price because it costed me 10 rupees, I will sell this product at 15 rupees? Can you just try to sell it blindly in the market. You cannot do this. Okay, you can see advertisements. So we'll do one activity on Monday, maybe probably 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. I'll give that time. Okay, it means you'll have to understand the psychology of consumer or a customer. Okay, how they behave. So when the income of customer increases, how they behave. When we give them offers, when you give them some discounts, what is the behavior of an average consumer? So that psychology of a normal individual or a consumer will have to be studied. So you cannot succeed in your business without trying to understand the psychology of an average consumer. So that is how managerial economics is also related to human psychology. Then marketing. So even marketing also, right? So you can't just sell your product without trying to understand the logics or concepts in marketing, advertising strategies, pricing strategies. Okay, all these will have to study a bit. So that's how the subject or discipline of managerial economics is not a discipline in itself, it is interdisciplinary. If you remember, we have studied this in nature of managerial economics. It is interdisciplinary, means it is linked with all such disciplines in one or other way. Okay, so that was about relationship of managerial economics with other disciplines. So you will not worry, I'll try to give a printed material for these topics. I didn't put much matter on the PPT, I just wanted to discuss it, so I just put only those points, right? Even wherever you find the links in the PPT, okay, this is the link. You go through this link, you'll find a relevant matter, concept related to the slide which is being displayed, the topic which is being displayed. Okay, then being a manager, yes, it is very important for managers, and it has got relationship with many branches, with many disciplines. Yes, how is it useful to engineers? The question arises here, how the concept of managerial economics is useful, especially to engineers. Okay, so other than this, which is on the slide, you can just discuss, give your points, how you think this course of managerial economics is useful to engineers like you. See, try to speak. There should be a two-way communication. Don't just keep your audio in mute and just escape. Okay. So it's here. Just have a look at this. Maybe it is not. This concept is not used by engineers who are in developing, testing, and other designing aspects. But when you reach to a management level, okay, when you reach to management level, definitely you should have a basic idea, right? So few basic management subjects, that is few basics of this managerial economics should be understood, should be studied by you, so that you can be able to reduce the gap. See, for example, you know to develop, yes, you know to develop a tool, you know how to test it, you know things much better, you know the technology, but you should also know how I can develop this technology at a minimum cost, at a minimum cost. How can I use all these opportunities available to me? Okay, maybe the technology outside, maybe the human resources you have, human skills you have, okay, the facilities you have. How best can you use these to develop or design something at a minimum cost for your organization? Okay, see, there are many brands which come into the market, but why still only few are still sustaining, They're sustaining because remember, they produce goods or services with utmost efficiency. Means they minimize the costs. They minimize the cost. Other than iPhone, when you look at other mobile brands, right? More or less their prices are equal, but still few mobile brands come up with outstanding features, okay, at the same price, and they top the markets. Why? This is because they master the art of producing goods at minimum costs. Okay, so that is where this knowledge of managerial economics will be useful to you. When you know these basic concepts of maybe like law of demand, or your cost, this U-shaped curve strategies. Okay, U-shaped curve. This will study in third unit, remember. Okay, so how long can we start producing only on a single unit? Okay, only to this quantity your costs are lower. Further, you're trying to produce more, your costs are going to rise. Then what can be done? Yes, you know to develop, you know to produce, but you should also be able to know the dynamics where my costs are minimized. So for this purpose, the concept of managerial economics is also useful for engineers. That will help you to reduce the gap. However, there will be other experts in this field assisting you, but you should not just work with blind, work in darkness. You should have some basic knowledge. That is how it is useful for engineers. So by having this basic knowledge, engineer can do a good value engineering. Okay, so you can manufacture something, so not at the cost of a higher price. Okay, see, if the cost is 10 and the buyers are willing to buy it at 5 rupees or 7 rupees, what is the use of producing it? There should be a good value engineer. So for this purpose, the concept of managerial economics is useful for engineers. So that other general benefits you can see here, you will have the benefit of evaluating alternatives. See now, if now you do not know any method of evaluating projects, you will study this in 15 capital budgeting techniques, project A and B. Okay, if they just give you quotation of the projects, and they say you have to do this in for this project, we'll pay you 2 lakh rupees. Okay, if you do not have basic knowledge of this managerial economics, you may not know what would be the cost of the project. See, they're paying you 2 lakhs to do that project. Okay, but to complete that project, if you need more than 2 lakh rupees, or you may need 1,80,000 to complete that project. So what fun do you have in just earning a profit of 20,000 rupees, right? So being an engineer, you know how to complete the project. You know that the project, you know how to complete the project. You know how to complete this, but you don't know which project to choose. You don't know which project is feasible for you to proceed with. So all these basic knowledge managerial economics is going to provide you, so that you can have the chance of evaluating alternatives. Okay, you have to leave. So who is this? Okay, leave. Then next, specify pricing. See, are we running out of time? Why people are, oh, you're in a hurry. Okay. I thought of, before we conclude, I thought of telling you people something. This Monday and Tuesday, okay, I have an assignment for you. So you all are listening, I suppose. I'm just telling you what is the assignment. You know how a product will be promoted. I want you all, so you just forget about this lesson now. usefulness of managerial economics. We are at the end of this. Anyhow, we'll discuss this later. I have a small assignment. You should work in a group of 5, not more than 5. You'll come up with a product. Okay, you'll come up with a product and you will create a name for that product. You will design a logo for that, probably come up with a caption or a tagline, and you try to promote that product through sharing the screen. Maybe uh, from Monday, will you be able to operate with Microsoft Teams? See, now the discussion is put to open, please. You can unmute and talk.
Sir, it's already working.
So you are operating with
Yes.
Microsoft Team, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So from Monday, I'll go with Microsoft Team only, so that you can even share the screen. Even you can share the screen and discuss. Okay. So now, Mr. Binod, he says, who will buy my product? See, it's not buying. You try to give a presentation on 4 or 5 members as a team. Okay. Give a presentation. How do you name your product? Okay, can you just give me a trick? Can you just give me a suggestion how a product will be named? So people are leaving. You want to leave. Okay. Based on the agenda, not on the agenda. Remember, your product name should be so catchy enough. Okay. So people are signing off. Okay. I will anyhow discuss this in tomorrow's class. Right. I'll discuss about this assignment in the next class. So what can be done? It should, yes, very good. It should attract people. Okay. So that the product should be so catchy that if you are, the name should be so catchy so that as you know the name of the brand, okay, by the time you go to the store to buy it, you should not forget the name of the brand. It should be very catchy. Anyhow, we'll discuss this on Monday, how this assignment will go, and we'll do it on Tuesday and Wednesday in the next class. So if nothing, you can just sign off now. You can just post your attendance and sign off quickly. All of you post your attendance. Mr. Binod, you want